Lesson 3 takes us into the string class, and we're going to deal with what the book calls simple string operations. There's a whole bunch of things we can do with strings in Java. We're just going to look at a real small piece of that in this lesson. What is the string class? Well, I've gone ahead and I've searched Google for Java string class source code. See, in the initial release of Java in 1995, there wasn't a string class. But one of the neat things about Java is that you can make your own classes. So when you encounter things and you want a computer program to do certain things over and over again, instead of redoing that code every time, you can put it into a class and then call that code later on. So at some point in time, somebody wrote this string class, and it's not exactly native to Java. That's why strings aren't considered primitives, but pretty close. The string class gets a lot of support. You scroll down through here, we're looking at a computer program that's over 3,000 lines of code. So this is a very advanced piece of work. Also, if we take a look at this, I found this here by searching Google once again. This time I just typed in Java string class, and the very first link that I found gives me a summary of all the things that are available in the Java string class. Later in the year, we'll learn what constructors are, and we'll learn what methods are. Well, these methods can do certain tasks. We're going to learn a few of them in this lesson. Okay, so I'll go back to my BlueJ tester, and what we're going to look at in this video is just something called concatenation, which is a very simple thing that you can do with strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a string, and I'll call this string word1, and I'll put the string here cat, okay, and I'll make another string, and I will call this string word2. I'm having a lot of typos today. So string word2, and we'll put dog here. Now, just to show you real quickly, earlier we had worked with some ints, and at one point I had some int variables, like for instance x equals 8, and I'll have y equals 10. And if I were to do a system out print ln and ask this to print x plus y, like we saw previously, this should print the number 18, okay? So notice that there's no string literals here. We're not asking it to print those characters. Java understands we're asking this to do math and to print the variable values, and in this case to get the sum of those variable values because I've put a plus operator here. If I put a multiplication symbol here using the asterisk, it would multiply those variables. So if I run this, I should get the number 80 to appear in my pop-up window. Let's see if that happens. Yep, and we do. We get the number 80 just like we had suspected. Well, okay, what if instead of asking it to multiply or to add x plus y, okay, so x plus y is going to give me 18, all right, what if instead, if I asked it to add string word1 plus string word2? Well, what does cat plus dog equal? I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. How can you add cat, dog? You know, or one example we've used before is if you put in here lion and tiger. Does that mean I'm going to get a liger? No. Okay, so what's going to happen if I add lion plus tiger? Well, let's see. So I've compiled. Everything looks good. And I get lion, tiger in succession. This is called concatenation. And all that happened is the two strings were simply appended together. Okay, so again, that word that I'm using is concatenation. Okay, and that's just a fancy word for what happens when you append two strings together. I should say two or more. You could append as many strings together as you want. Okay? In fact, it doesn't have to be a variable. We could append a string literal. So I could have lion, tiger, and I could put bear right here. And what would happen is this addition symbol, it's not being asked to do math in this case, it's being asked to do concatenation. Okay, so let's see what happens. Lion, tiger, bear. Now, some strange things can happen when you try to concatenate strings with other variable types. Let me show you. So let's put in another print line here. We have system out print ln, and I'm going to concatenate. I'll concatenate the word hello with the number 168. Now, notice that I have not put that number inside of any string literal. It's being treated as an integer. So, can I do this? Yes, it does compile. So, it's not an illegal piece of syntax. Okay? What do I get? Well, it performs concatenation. We're going to learn that in Java, there's sort of a hierarchy to how things work. And that when you, for instance, if I combine a string and an int, Java lumps them together into a string. So the string is sort of the bigger object, so it kind of wins. If you put an int and a double together, we'll learn later. The result is a double. A double is a larger variable type than an int. Okay? Now, some really strange things happen if I put in a second piece of concatenation here. So, for instance, what if I put on here plus and I add the number 32? Well, 168 plus 32 is 200. So let's see if we get the number 200 to print. No. Once that concatenation operation begins, it actually continues to the end of that statement. Now, I could override that. If I really want these numbers to add, I could put in a set of parentheses here, and just like in your math class, you want to do things inside of parentheses first. In another lesson, we'll talk about the order of operations. That would win here, and the numbers would be added before the concatenation takes place. So now notice that I got hello 200. Well, just like everything else with Java, I'm just showing you a little bit. I really encourage you to play around with this a little bit more and experiment with concatenation and see what kind of things you can create.